If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please join me on my website at nanice.com. Thank you.
It's your time for Chai with Nanice. Get ready for substance, clarity, change, and especially empowerment. Get ready to turn over stones, uncover stories, and get to the heart of the matter in every area of your life. Any mood runs, any emotion flies, and your dreams are within your grasp. There are no limits or boundaries, and your comfort zone is out of reach, yet it's the safest place you will ever be. Come in, sit down, and have some chai with Nanice.
Welcome to Chai with Nanice. I'm Nanice. I woke up this morning to a beautiful snowstorm here in Salt Lake City, and I felt something magical in the air. But to tell you the truth, I don't think it was the snow or the storm. I think it was something else. I think it was this magical quality that I somehow tuned into. And quite possibly the beautiful snow on the trees and on the landscape all around brought me to that experience. But a greater truth would be that magical experience, that magical feeling lies within me. And as it lies within me, it lies within you too. You see, there is magic and miracles all around. Wherever we look, there's miracles. Wherever we look, there is magic. The reason that we don't see the magic and miracles all the time is because it's so often and so frequent that we fail to see that that's exactly what we're looking at. Life itself is a miracle. As many of you know, my beautiful daughter-in-law, April Perry Kreitzer, is expecting a baby any day, any minute. And we are caught up in the miracle of birth. But when you think about it, how did we each get here? We each got here from the miracle of birth. We each got here because two miracles of birth came together and created one more. There is nowhere that we cannot look that miracles and magic don't exist. But very few of us take the time to really look. I recently watched a movie called The Peaceful Warrior. And this movie was about ordinary moments, or rather, that there are no ordinary moments. And when we remember that every moment is extraordinary, then life changes, then your life changes. It's interesting because, I watch people and so many people are rushing through their lives and rushing through their days and, rushing to get their kids to school and rushing to get to work and rushing to do their to-do list that never ends and then undoing that to-do list on the way back and picking their kids up and doing this and doing that. And it's just this mad rush. When you really stop and look, what you see is a hypnotic program that so many of us are caught up in. And where did this come from? Where did it start? Well, I believe that it starts from the moment that we're born into hypnotic programs that keep us asleep. And then when we start school or learn about religion or economics or many other things, the programs just increase and increase and increase until we find ourselves living in what seems like an ordinary to-do list life. And I don't know about you, but that's not good enough for me anymore. Yeah, I lived there for a really long time, and I refuse to live there anymore. And truly, it's a choice. And it's interesting because many years ago, I made the choice to get out of that rat race. I made the choice to wake up from the program. But the program is so hypnotic that each and every day, I have to remind myself because there are so many things to catch me up. And when I notice that I'm being hypnotized, I get to say, I choose me. I choose my life. I choose the extraordinary journey of who I am and what I can create because that is like none other. Today's show is about natural energy. And everything that I've already spoken about today is a beautiful segue for that. Because when we are caught up in programs, when we are caught up in our to-do list, when we are caught up in having to get our lives done and complete and finished, we give our energy away. Our natural energy is spent on the very things that we really don't want to spend it on. So in other words, it's like we're working for life instead of having life work for us. Well, today my beautiful guest on the show is one of my Echo coaching students, and her name is Laure. and she is absolutely glorious. She is an artist. She's actually born and raised in Paris and moved to New York in 1992 to study at Hunter College. By the way, my mom actually went to Hunter College for a little while, many, many years ago, and she's also studied at the Arts Student League. She later relocated to San Francisco, where she completed a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in printmaking at the California College of Arts in 1999. She has an extensive fine arts background, including illustration, etching, lithography, silkscreen, woodcutting, figure drawing, painting, ceramics, and mixed media. She is also trained as a yoga instructor and currently resides in Los Angeles. Laure, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nanice. Pleasure to be on the show.
Awesome, awesome. And the reason that we decided to do the show today was because of a suggestion that you had. Would you like to share with our guests what that was?
Yes, it's a question that started quite a while ago, but that originated about a couple of months ago. I was with my beautiful boyfriend Jonathan, and we went to visit his neighbor Natalie to have a glass of wine. She invited us over, and we had a really wonderful time with her. And socializing with your neighbor in LA is always a bonus because you don't have to drive, and it's, they're right next door. You don't have to drive there and back. And Jonathan and his neighbor were saying, "Oh my God, we haven't seen each other in so long. We haven't seen each other in 6 months." And it's always great when we get together and we live right next door to each other. Mm-hmm. And his neighbor Natalie said, "Well, when I work on projects, I so beat at the end of the day that I have no energy to socialize. I just go home and crash." Mm-hmm. And this lady has such a compelling life. It seems that she has a very great career. She's an artist, and she's very successful at what she does, and she's a teacher, and she's very passionate about what she teaches. Mm-hmm. So the question arose. I thought, wow, how is it that we can have very exciting, compelling lives and still be completely exhausted? Mm-hmm. And my boyfriend Jonathan has a demanding job and 3 kids, and same thing. It's a life that he loves, but he's still exhausted at the end of the day.
Yes.
So I just brought up the question. I thought, I wonder if there's a way that we can go about our lives in a way that we get energized from our day instead of just getting home and being completely beat, whether it's from a job or activities that we don't like or that we like, but through being maybe very present and being fully engaged, we still get drained instead of coming home and being energized.
Right. And so the situations that you speak of are really exceptional, because most people don't do what they love to do. So here you're speaking about 2 people who absolutely love what they do, and they still come home drained. So that is a very extraordinary situation. First of all, that they're living their dreams. So that's very cool. Yes. So I want to explore all of that. I want to explore, what it looks like to live the life that you really want and still have energy at the end of the day. I also want to explore creating that life that energizes you. Does that sound like that's a good plan, Laure?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
Awesome. How are you doing? You doing good?
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah, I'm a little sick, so you might hear some coughs and sniffles, but it's actually perfect for the program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, not awesome that you have sniffles, but awesome that you're here. So.
There is something that I would like to say about how the question arose.
Yeah.
Because that night in our conversation, I was remembering a night in my life where I went to see Amma, the Hugging Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a memorable evening, for one, because her hugs are pretty much life transforming.
Wow.
But also because my friend took me to her ashram, and we arrived probably at 10 p.m., 10 in the evening, and we were both done with our day and kind of tired. And we arrived at her ashram in Northern California, and there were so many people. I was so astonished how many people there were, and it was kind of like a big party. It was 10 p.m. and it seemed like it was 7 in the morning, and I got a little ticket with a number, and I think I was like number 2,500, and several thousand people were waiting online, and there she was, this amazing lady, just giving hug after hug after hug. And I think I got my medical hug at about 2 in the morning.
Wow.
And I was just struggling to stay awake, and I was just in the energy of the whole event, but still a little tired. And I saw her, and she had already hugged 2,500 people before me, and she was just so present and so radiant, and I felt like I was the child that she had been waiting for all her life, and she was just so happy to see me, and and just gave me so much of her love and energy. And she went on the whole night until late in the morning. I actually left before she was done, and it was very late into the night. And this night really affected me so deeply. And I thought, this woman is inhabiting a human body, and yet she's not limited by. She's not living in the limitations of her body.
Right.
And there is something else that gives her energy, and from a very limited understanding, I think there is something that she's so strongly committed to, that gives her all this power.
Yes.
And she channels an energy that is far greater than what her body could give her. Right.
Yeah. Well, Laure, the answer's in the question. And that is that, it's a matter of human energy versus source energy. And when you witness such a beautiful being, beyond person, with unlimited energy, what you're witnessing is a clear channel, just allowing source energy to flow through them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the answer for everybody. So it's like even when we do something that we love, very often we get caught up in it. And it's not just about doing the thing that we love. There's other things attached to it, like deadlines, approval, getting our needs met, having it to be a certain way, especially if it's something to do in the arts field, and money. So as soon as we attach other elements to that, even if it's doing something we love, and especially if we're not doing something we love and we're only doing it for the end result, what we're really doing is we're cutting off source energy. So source energy is this unlimited flow of energy. I mean, our source energy never ends. There's never an end to it. It goes on and on and on and on and on through infinity. But as soon as we invite human elements into, and some people might say ego elements, take that if you will, then suddenly that energy, it's cut off, or it becomes filtered in such a way that it's no longer in its pure divine source. It's kind of like a light switch. If you know anything about electricity, and this is the most I know about electricity, I promise, but it's always flowing, and when we flick the light switch, we're actually disconnecting the flow of energy, and that's what turns it off. And source energy is the same thing. It's always flowing. What that means is it's always accessible to us 24/7. 24/7, it's accessible to us. But as soon as we do certain things that pull it down into more of a human or a need gradient, then suddenly that's shut off. It's no longer what it used to be. Is that beginning to make sense a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the pressing question is, where's the switch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the switch?
What is the switch? So we each have our own individual switches, and this is what I invite our listeners today to really think about. What is your switch? What is it that you're doing or you're believing in your life that's creating that cutoff? And so let's talk about some of those things. Is that okay?
Sure.
Awesome. Cool. Well, one of the biggest things is needs. That as soon as we attach a need to the thing that we're doing, suddenly that cuts it off. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. So many people on this planet, as I spoke about at the beginning of the show, are doing things simply for an end result. So that means that we're doing a job that we really don't love to do. We're only doing it for the paycheck. We're going through the motions just that we can complete a task. We're finishing our to-do list. All these things are energy blocks and energy cutoffs. Right? They're not a direct flow of energy. So it's like as soon as you're doing something to get something else, the energy stops. And this is particularly true when we're doing things that we don't love to do. Now, we take it a little bit further, and with your two examples, even if you're doing something that you love to do, if there's something else attached to it, if you put an attachment to it, then suddenly it's a cutoff in energy. So when we have needs attached to it, so let's say that Jonathan, what is it that it's Jonathan that you talked about earlier? Is that true?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what is it that he does that he loves to do? Just briefly.
Oh, he works in a print shop.
Mm-hmm.
He works, yes, and he has there's ups and downs with his work. But I think overall, besides the challenges of his work, which is actually a very challenging profession, I think there is a lot of the stress is I think being centered as opposed to just being in an emergency room all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the part of his life that he most loves is bringing up his children, and I think it's hearing it from parents. I'm not a parent, but hearing from parents, I also hear it's at the end of the day, there's little energy left to do personal projects and socialize, and especially when children are young.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing you say is that, can you maybe paraphrase that in just a little bit differently? So he's going through his day, but he has a lot of concerns about what he wants to get done, or?
Yes, I think he works in a print shop. There's a lot of deadlines and challenges with machines and projects, and
right.
So I think there's a part of his job that he really loves, and then there's a part of his job that is stressful. And I think in most, if not all professions, even the ones that we love to do, there are deadlines and clients and to-do lists that cut us off maybe from just being completely present and really enjoying what we do in the moment. Mm-hmm. I guess it's a speculation.
Yeah, and that's all we can do is speculate. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll use this example. And so what I'm hearing you say is that he cannot be in the moment because he's got a lot of deadlines and a lot of things so he's really focusing on the end result. So what would it take for him to be present? Yeah,
I believe so. I believe it's a service industry, and there's a lot of pressing deadlines, possible problems, and clients' demands.
Right. It's interesting. I actually know this field very well because I have a publishing company myself.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Very good.
And we do printing. We do in-house printing. And my son, Dustin, he's actually, in charge of all that. And I do know how stressful it is, especially when machines break down. And initially, when we first started the business, oh boy, it was a huge, huge learning curve, bigger than I ever could have imagined, and certainly bigger than he could have imagined. So when I look at this question specifically and in general, what I see is a very common challenge in many, many businesses, and that is that there are deadlines and that there are end results that have to be made. And and it's interesting, and we can even see this like somebody who is a performer on stage or in anything, and where there's some kind of expectation. It's almost like the expectation of what it is that needs to get done pulls us out of the moment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is by having that expectation and pulling us out of the moment, we're not as effective or productive. Does that make sense too?
Right. Yeah,
right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this space within each of us that we get to kind of melt in, and what that looks like is, even though we're aware that there is this expectation, quote unquote, that we allow ourselves to be present in the moment, completely trusting that we will get it done. So it's almost like a releasing or a letting go, if you will. And in that letting go, something greater than us moves through us. And when that something greater than us moves through us, we actually do become more productive. We do become more efficient and effective in that which we're doing.
Right.
So within this situation and in any situation where we're looking at natural energy, it is a matter of getting back to the moment. There's no way that you could be connected to source, divine source, if you're not in the moment. As soon as you're thinking about the next moment, out of the moment, then suddenly you're cutting off your connection to divine source and you're cutting off the energy. So it's if I were to say that simply, divine source exists in this moment only.
Hmm. And I think the question, which you might have answered already, is how do we stay connected in the present moment when we have so many deadlines to think about? I think part of the holding on is maybe thinking, if I don't think about all those things, everything is just going to go all right, and then I'll be in big trouble.
Right. Yeah. So it's like we put inhuman expectations on us, and then we try to deal with it from a human mind, and it's overwhelming. It's complete stress. I mean, even children today. I recently read an article, and don't quote me on this, but it was just this huge amount of children, 12-year-olds, who are now on Prozac because they had so much anxiety in their lives from all the homework that they had to do and all the tests they had to do, and the social expectations and everything else. 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds. There's something wrong with that picture. And part of what I think we're looking at is this paradigm that's been created that not only are we putting expectations on ourselves, but we've learned that's okay, that it's okay to have so much on top of us that's unreasonable. And maybe it's a matter of becoming more reasonable with ourselves. Maybe it's a matter of slowing down and simplifying our lives in such a way that we don't have to live under these expectations. Now, you may be saying, yeah, but somebody like Jonathan, he has to do this. This is his job, or this is his business, or all that. And I believe that there's a new paradigm, and in that new paradigm, we get to recreate our lives in a way that works better for us. So, he may love his job, you may love your job, I may love what I do, and I don't consider it a job, by the way. But if we are constantly living in the future, constantly under stress, whatever the outcome may be, it's not worth it, because we're giving our lives away to it. And there's a time that we have to step back and make a new choice. And that choice is for us and for our lives. Otherwise, we end up going through our lives and looking back and saying, wow, even if I did what I love doing, I was just doing it in order to survive or make a living. There's something wrong with that. And I think that what's happening is this concept or this paradigm is coming to the surface, and a lot of people are rising up and they're saying, this is not how I want to live anymore. This isn't working for us individually or collectively. And, it's very hard to get out of a situation like that when you're using the same mind that got you into it. But when we say this is not okay, and we choose to find a different way of living, suddenly options and opportunities come to us that we never would have thought of before. And a lot of that is moving back into the moment. So it's like when we're talking about many different concepts at once here. So it's like when we move back into the moment and we say, well, this isn't working for me anymore, living under all this stress and not being able to be present, for my children at the end of the day or do the things that I love to do, I need a different way of living. If we come back to the present moment and we say that, suddenly opportunities and possibilities begin to appear within us and outside of us that we otherwise could not have even thought of or manifested.
I think this is it's a very very important point, because I think I'll speak for myself, but I think when I get into situations where I have so many deadlines, I feel like I'm already part of avalanche. I'm already caught in an avalanche that I absolutely cannot stop, and there's no stop button, and I feel very powerless. I think, okay, well, if I don't complete these deadlines, things will really fall apart. And where's the power? So how do I find my power when I'm already falling with the avalanche?
Yeah, by stopping. Yeah, truly. Mm-hmm. So it's like we get caught up in the avalanche because we fear that our survival is at risk.
Right, and the survival potentially of our family and or other dependents. Mm-hmm.
Right. And truly, our survival is at risk, but not because we don't miss a deadline, but because we miss our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the real loss. At any moment we get to stop and we get to say, wait a second, this isn't working, and make a different choice. And very often there are other options for us. That avalanche that we find ourselves in is of our own creation. As you probably know, I've got a lot of things going on in my life. There's the coaching school. I've got my publishing company. I coach. I have another radio show. It goes. I've got children that are still young and need me. I write books. It goes on and on and on and on and on. I've got so much going on in my life, and what I've noticed is that whenever I begin to feel overwhelmed, which happens less and less and less, do you know what I do? Nothing.
I'm very curious. So nothing?
Yeah, nothing. I literally stop. Because I know that's not the life that I want to live, that I've created these things in my life because I love each and every one of them, like everything that I do, from spending time with my kids to coaching to, doing the radio shows or, whatever it might be, I have hand-selected every moment of my life. And so when I get caught in the deadlines or the overwhelm, what I'm doing is the absolute opposite of what I intended to do, which is enjoy every moment of my life. And so the overwhelming feeling like, oh, I've got all I've got to do, all that, what it is a reminder to me. And in that moment, as soon as it starts, I've created a signal. As soon as it starts, I'm reminded, oh, wait, I'm forgetting my intention, which is to really live my life. And in that moment, I stop and I do nothing, literally. I just let everything go. And I sit down and maybe meditate or breathe or go for a walk. And in doing those things, that means that I'm not thinking about all those things that I think I should be doing at that time. I just let it go. And the most interesting thing happens, because as soon as I'm back at this peaceful place, I say, okay, what do I want to do now? And I often return to, maybe the thing that I had been doing that caused the overwhelm. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, instead of feeling the pressure, I'm back in the moment and I'm enjoying it, truly knowing that somehow I'm going to get everything done. How do I know that? Because I always have. And from that place, I'm creative. And in that creative place, of course, I'm connected to Source. Now, Source energy can flow through me. So instead of getting tired, at 6 o'clock at night, I'm not tired until it's time for bed. And even then, I'm still feeling good. And the reason that I'm still feeling good is because I choose me. Constantly, over and over again. So instead of choosing my to-do list, I'm choosing me. And in doing that, I'm creating the life that I want. And everything that I've chosen to move through and to create and to, yes, even accomplish gets done, but from a place of presence, from a place of almost innocence, from a place of, I get to do this. Now, if you can imagine your printer friend, Jonathan, going to work every day saying, I get to do this. And even in those moments where, machine breaks down or he has a deadline or, whatever, he's like, I get to do this. And it's almost like the challenge becomes an adventure. So it's no longer like my survival depends on this. Instead, it's, I get to do this. And how do I know? Because I've chosen it. That's how I know I get to do this. And if you're in a life where you're like, well, I don't like what I'm doing, then it's time to make some changes. Time to create the life that you really want. We all have the power to do it. We all have a divine purpose. And I'll tell you that when we live that divine purpose, everything changes. We turn into these beautiful beings who constantly are in the flow of love and light, that constantly are the flow of love and light. And so it's nothing to hug 5,000 people when you're just a pure flow of energy. It's everything that we put inside of ourselves. It's all our beliefs. It's all our, feelings of unworthiness. It's all our, shoulds, have to, guilt. All of that cuts off the energy. When we remove those things, the energy flows pure. It flows pure. Well, may I ask you how your energy is in your life?
It's stop and go.
Yeah.
And I have several switches. It's interesting because I do feel that I am on my path, but it's not. I have an idea of how unlimited the energy could actually be, and it doesn't feel unlimited. It still feels very limited. So right now it's interesting. Ever since I actually suggested the idea for the show and got signed up as a guest, I've been a lot more attentive to when the energy is flowing and when it isn't. And sometimes the concept of being on the right path or my higher path is all too big.
Yes.
But it can be just very just in catching myself in very mundane experiences. A few days ago, I had to get a bunch of items at the hardware store, and the closest store in my neighborhood is this humongous chain hardware store that's about a third of a mile long. And it has 57 ales.
Wow.
And I had to get 11 items. So I went from ale 36, and I was sent to ale 4, and somebody took my card, so I had to walk another quarter of a mile to get a new card. And about 25 minutes into the experience, I was so exhausted from trotting on concrete and being under fluorescent light, and just kind of thinking, wow, I feel so drained from this experience, and it's not like, even though I choose the projects that I'm getting all these parts for, I'm really not enjoying this experience.
Right.
And so I just stopped. Same thing. Instead of rushing out, which I would probably have done before, like, I'm going to get this done as much as I can to get out of this experience and get back to my life. I just thought, no. I just stopped and closed my eyes and just felt the tiredness in my body and in my mind, and just breathed and asked for energy.
Right.
And it came back, and I opened my eyes, and I was in the same warehouse with the same lights, but there was something fresh about the experience, and I could be a little more with the experience, as opposed to just, I felt like I was running like a rat in a labyrinth before. I just thought, okay, this is my life, and I can see it with a fresh eye again. It's almost like the refresh button on my browser, or something fresh arises, and it's exciting.
Yes. So it's kind of like you rebooted.
It's a reboot. I like the reboot, and suddenly I think I just remember that I'm a human being, and I'm in this moment in life. It's not I'm not getting to my life as soon as I step out of this place. This is my life.
Right. This is your life, and that's the point. This is your life. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love that story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because whatever we do and wherever we are, it's really always about connecting. So yes, it's about connecting to our environment, of course, but even greater than that, I believe it's about connecting to those people in our environment. So we may find ourselves, in a endless store running back and forth, or we may find ourselves in motor vehicles waiting online for 3 hours. And believe me, in New York, it used to be like that years ago. I don't know if it still is. Or we may find ourselves, just in midst of a group of people, just not knowing why we're there or what we're there for. And I'll tell you, the reason's always the same. It's to connect. It's to connect to other people. There's no accident that you're around those particular people. So, when I find myself in situations like that, my new paradigm, and when I say new paradigm is I live most of my life, not understanding the real truth about situations. And many years ago, when I awakened to the truth, everything changed. So wherever I find myself, even if it's in a situation that I wouldn't necessarily, consciously create, I know it's because there's a connection necessary. And so when I walk through the aisles, I make sure that I look at people, and not even make sure, I love to do that, and I smile at people, and I often talk to people. So I may never see that person again, or I may never see those people again, but I know there's no accident that we've come together in that time and space. It can be no other way. If every moment is divinely guided, and every moment is connected to every other moment, which we know it is through quantum physics, then is there not a divine purpose that we come together? There would have to be. And so when you walk through a store like that, or you're waiting online forever, or whatever it might be, if you wake up, not just only to your environment, but to the people around you, and you start connecting to them, start realizing that maybe you have something to offer to them energetically, or vice versa, that there's some kind of exchange, that brings you back to the conscious moment. And it's funny because even when we look at the things that we do in life, your printer friend, and I know you're an artist, and everything that I do, the real goal of it is simply to express love. So a lot of times people come to my classes and workshops and they say, I know that I have a divine purpose and I don't know what it is. In fact, if I were to ask a large group of people, do you have a divine purpose? Everybody would raise their hand. And if I was to ask, how many of you know what that is? Almost every hand would go down. So many people feel it, but they don't know what it is. And I can make it really simple, that the purpose, the divine purpose that we all have, is the same thing. It's simply to express love. The way in which we do it, which most people see as their unique purpose, is simply the way to express it. So we all express it in different ways, but what it really comes down to is expressing love. So, right now, what it seems like I'm doing a radio show and we're talking and all this, or I'm writing books, or whatever it is I'm doing, but really when it comes down to the core of what it is, it's my special and unique way to share love with others. So even your printer friend, and I hope he listens to the show, right? Jonathan.
He's at work right now, but he will.
Yes, awesome. Well, even Jonathan, what it really comes down to is what he does is really connecting to people in some way, even if it's not directly, and he's sharing love. So it's like we print books. I have a book publishing company, as I mentioned. So it's like, it just looks like printing, but really we're sending an energy out of love. It can be no other way. So everybody out there that's thinking, what's my divine purpose? What am I here for? I'll make it really simple. It's to express love. And if you don't know your unique way to do that yet, then simply go out and express love. This is what my book Blueprints is about. It's about the expressing of that love in simple yet profound ways. It's about, saying hi to strangers, quote unquote, on the street. It's about, holding the door open for people. It's about, anonymously buying the person behind you in Starbucks a cup of coffee. It's about asking how someone's day is and sincerely waiting and listening for the answer. It's about being present with everybody that you come in contact with. That's what it's about. So if you don't know what your divine, unique way to express love is, just express it. That will fill you up so much, and that will energize you in ways that you never could have imagined. Because if that's what it's about anyway, just do it. And if you're still seeking that unique and divine way to express love, I'll tell you, it's easy to find what is it that you love to do. It's that easy. The reason that people don't get to that point is because they put all these conditions on it, like, oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, oh, I have to go to school, or I'm this or that, or I have to do this or that. It goes on and on. But once you remove all the conditions and you just do what you love to do, there you are. That's your unique way of expressing love. And in doing so, you connect to divine source, and unlimited energy flows through you. It's just a matter of choosing that and being present to it, and then choosing it again and being present to it again until it's so automatic that it's how you live your life. And I think that's what we're all looking for. What do you think, Laure?
Yeah, I think let's see, I have a couple of comments and questions.
Sure.
For one, what I hear also in that, in choosing to express love, there is, I hear a creative choice also. Mm-hmm. So whenever I remind myself to, when I stand online, for example, in a store, yes. And when I can remind myself to stand in line giving love, suddenly yes. there's something creative about it. Like I can create a completely new way to stand in line, yes. And express the love in whichever way I feel. Sometimes I feel shy, so I'm not super comfortable talking to people, but just being present and connecting, just being aware of people's presence and beauty around me already is creative, because yes. It's something that I wasn't doing before I remembered that there can be I can be connected and contributing to this moment right now, and yes. This very act of creating something new is very life-giving, I find.
Yes, absolutely.
And it doesn't have to look any particular way.
It doesn't.
There's no should, like, oh, I should talk to this person, or mm-hmm. but just shifting the experience and say, I can enhance this experience.
Yes.
I find it very energizing and life-giving.
Yes.
And then the question that I have also, hearing life purpose and giving love, I think maybe some activities or some professions are not necessarily seeming to be so loving mm-hmm. or contributing to the world, and I think maybe some people might have a question. Well, I'm only a driver, or mm-hmm. I'm an editor, or right. I'm not really in contact with people. I don't feel right. like I give love. Can this be my higher path?
Well, it can, if you love to do it, absolutely. Because in the loving in what you do, let's say you are an editor and you rarely come in contact with people. When you're editing someone's book, if you're doing it from the space of love and presence, you're sending that energy into the book, to the author, and out into the world. So energy doesn't stop. Just like once we make a sound, it echoes through eternity. It's hence Echo Coaching School. It's the same thing. Once we give out any energy, that of love and what we do, it echoes out into the world without stop. Even somebody who works at a factory, if what they do is done in presence and the of love, putting widgets together, then that energy goes into the widget and goes to whoever the widget goes to, and then goes from that person to the next. It's a huge echo that never stops. It's just a matter of bringing presence and bringing the intention of love to whatever it is that you're doing in any moment. Awesome question. Awesome question, Laure. Yeah. Would you believe that our time is up? Didn't that go fast?
It went really fast. And I got so much out of this conversation.
Awesome. It was fun. Yeah. And I want to share with our listeners that you make beautiful shirts. And if you would share a little bit about that and how people can see them online and get in touch with you, that would be awesome.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, I'm, as you explained at the beginning, I'm actually trained as a fine artist, and I also really love doing graphic work. And I've started designing images for T-shirts and little market bags so that people can shop with really stylish grocery bags. And I just put up some images of my work on a little blog. The URL is fluffydream.com, and that's fluffy, F-L-U-F-F-Y, dream.com.
Awesome. And you also have another website for people to see some of your work too, don't you?
Oh yes, that's a little harder. That's a little harder to
share it.
pronounce and spell. Yeah. It's my first name and last name, Laure Cuvillier, LaureCuvillier, and that's that's a website for my fine art work, my paintings. And yes, I would absolutely love to have your comments and feedback on my artwork and my T-shirts.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laure, for being on the show today.
Thank you, Nanice. It was a pleasure and an honor.
My pleasure. My honor. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, Laure.
Bye-bye.
The energy, bye-bye. The energy of Source is available for each and every one of us. It is yours just for the asking. In fact, it's not even about asking. It's a matter of getting out of your own way and letting the love flow through you, to you, beyond you. And in this way, you are unlimited energy because you channel Source energy. I would love for you to visit my website at nanice.com. That's NANICE.com, and click on the pledge. You've heard me talk about the pledge in past shows, and the pledge is a way to get back in touch with your natural energy. It consists of 4 parts. The first part being self-love, the second, self-honoring, the third, kindness to others, and the fourth, personal power or empowerment. And by following the pledge, you will automatically return to your natural energy and be able to live the life that you came here to live. It's your life. You get to live it. No one else can live it for you. And today is the day that you get to choose you and take back your power to create that which you really want to create. It's all within your grasp. It's all you. Please visit me at my website at nanice.com. Again, that's NANICE.com. Take the pledge, read an amazing number of articles, listen to past shows, email me. Let me know about you. Let me know about some show ideas that you'd like to see. Tell me what's going on in your life and how I can help. And if you need a coach, I'm your coach, so let me know that too. And remember, I love you. So take a deep breath and think the thought, I am love. Only love is real. And take that thought and just allow it to drop down into your heart, deep, deep down into your heart. I am love. Only love is real. And let that overflow from your heart, permeating every cell in your body and beyond, so that you are surrounded in only love. You send love out to everyone and everything. And you know, only love is real. You have been listening to Chai with Nanice. See you next week.
Thank you for having Chai with Nanice. Please go to www.nanice.com for great free stuff that will empower you to live your best possible life. Free books, articles, shows, meditation audios, and so much more at nanice.com. That's NANICE.com. Nanice's books are also available in all major bookstores and Amazon. Check out The Infinite Power of You, Even Gandhi Got Hungry and Buddha Got Mad, Zest Point, Lip Prints, and many others by Nanice Ellis. To find out about one-on-one coaching and how Nanice can personally coach you to experience your best life possible, please email mybestlife@nanice.com.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please join me on my website at nanice.com. That's Nanice.com. Thank you.